On Saturday, May 9, 2015, Russia celebrated the national holiday of Victory Day, commemorating the 70th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany by the Soviet Union and the Allied powers at the end of World War II. The parade was reminiscent of the old May Day celebrations in the Soviet Union, as thousands of Russian troops, tanks, armored vehicles, and mobile RS-24 Yars intercontinental ballistic missiles paraded down Moscow's Red Square. The parade commenced with the typical goose-stepping of select Russian honor guard soldiers, marching under both the modern Russian Federation flag and the Soviet Red Victory banner bearing the communist hammer and sickle. This was the same flag that the Soviet Red Army troops raised over the German Reichstag building during the fall of Berlin. This was by far Russia's largest military display since the purported collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. According to news reports, 16,000 Russian servicemen, 200 armored vehicles, and 150 planes marched. In addition to the Russian troops, 1,300 troops from foreign countries, including Azerbaijan, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, India, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, Tajikistan, Serbia, and for the first time ever, Communist China participated. Returning the invitation, China has invited Russian troops to march in a parade in Beijing later this year in September to commemorate China's victory over Japan at the end of World War II. According to a Defense Ministry statement from Fan Shenglong, the deputy chairman of Communist China's Central Military Commission, Fan told Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu that China, quote, warmly welcomes Russian military leaders and army formations, end quote. Fan Shenglong stated that Xi Jinping's visit to Russia, quote, pushed the China-Russia all-round strategic partnership relationship to a new level, end quote. Following high-level military talks between Fan Shenglong and Sergei Shoigu, Russian General Anatoly Antonov said, quote, our Chinese colleagues have emphasized that we have similar positions on the problem of challenges and threats. They noted the necessity of reconstruction of the current world order, moving away from double standards, and strengthening of equal and mutually profitable relations between all countries in the world. These revelations are quite startling, especially in light of the testimony of high-ranking Soviet KGB defector Anatoly Golitsyn, who on page 158 of his book, The Perestroika Deception, published in 1985, wrote, quote, behind the mask of diplomatic and political cooperation and partnership with the United States and Europe, the current Russian leaders are following the strategy of their predecessors and working towards a new world order. When the right moment comes, the mask will be dropped, and the Russians with Chinese help will seek to impose their system on the West on their own terms as the culmination of a second October socialist revolution, end quote. In addition to the usual massive military parade, the Kremlin and surrounding buildings were adorned with communist red stars and hammer and sickles in the backdrop. The communist emblems and symbols match those of the ideologies of the world leaders present at the Victory Day ceremony. As former KGB officer and Russian President Vladimir Putin sat alongside Chinese President and General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, Xi Jinping, Kazakh President and former First Secretary of the Communist Party of the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic, Nursultan Nazarbayev, Venezuelan President and leader of Venezuela's United Socialist Party, Nicolas Maduro, Cuban President and First Secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba, Raul Castro, North Korean Chairman of the Supreme Soviet People's Assembly, Kim Jong-nam, and Zimbabwean Communist dictator turned president, Robert Mugabe. Also present were Mongolia's President and United Nations Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon. Under the guise of victory over Nazism and fascism, communism was exalted, and the rise of an anti-Western, Marxist Eastern Bloc was inaugurated, much like at the end of World War II.